Welcome back for a Beatles Timeline Moment. A timeline of more than 100 years of facts and events, with notable songs and people in the history of the Beatles. Please subscribe to this channel to stay informed with future historical Beatles timeline moments. Legally disbanding the Beatles. The four former bandmates were able to work cooperatively towards a settlement. This document, known as the Beatles Agreement, and was signed by the four Beatles on December 29, 1974. John Lennon was amazed at the length and the complexity of the settlement document. Lennon said, the original agreement between Klein and the Beatles had been 2 or 3 paragraphs on a single piece of paper. Now it was going to take 87 pages to dissolve. By the end of the Abbey Road sessions, only 2 of the Beatles had expressed the desire to stay together for future albums. Ironically, even though Paul McCartney was the first to publicly announce he was leaving the band, internally, John Lennon and George Harrison had made it known to the others, they had no intention of continuing on as a Beatle. For years, people would continually ask the four of them, "Why did you break up, and when are you getting back together?" There wasn't one good answer to either of those questions. However, it was well documented that John Lennon wanted to expand his artist expression with his new wife Yoko Ono. Lennon no longer wanted to spend time with the other 3 Beatles. George Harrison expressed frustration of writing an enormous amount of good quality songs, yet he couldn't get past his 2-song per album quota. Harrison had a mountain of great demos that needed to be developed, but didn't get the time those songs deserved from producer George Martin, or any of the other Beatles. McCartney was frustrated the other 3 bandmates were favoring having Alan Klein become their business manager. Lennon later admitted, when it came to Klein, Paul was probably right. Ringo Starr would have continued, had the others would have wanted to stay together with a positive approach towards the music. Their manager Brian Epstein had died in 1967, who was the centerpiece of the group since they became a transatlantic popular band. McCartney had a perfectionist and domineering approach towards recording, that frustrated the others. Yoko Ono was consistently in the studio, which irritated the other 3. The business difficulties of Apple losing money created corporate tension. Lennon and McCartney were no longer writing songs together. Harrison said the Beatles started to become more about the business than the music, and he has no interest in becoming a businessman. He despised dealing with accountants and lawyers. Lennon was becoming undependable and unpredictable because of his heroin use. Lennon continually openly disparaged McCartney's songwriting, later calling them granny and silly love songs. Harrison said, the issues became trivial and there were games being played against one another. McCartney made the case for disbanding the band, because of the mistreatment that Phil Spector did with his song, The Long and Winding Road, by adding orchestral and choral overdubs. Lennon said it was a marriage of 4 musicians that ran its course. It was simply time for a divorce because it got boring. McCartney said it was time to grow up, it was like needing to leave your army buddies and move on with life. Ringo said the 4 of them were now married, each having family obligations that didn't exist when they began their Beatles journey. We would like for you to participate for a Beatles discussion at our timeline website, the4beatles.com. There, you can share your thoughts and memories with us and others of more than 250 Beatles timeline topics. Again, please subscribe to this channel to stay informed with future historical Beatles timeline moments.